So I always had a warm and loving relationship with the water. When I was young, I used to go swimming, lap swimming with my mom every day in the summer. And the second I turned 18, I got a water lily tattooed on my back. And I don't necessarily feel that same way about nature in general. I'm sort of comically risk averse when it comes to other Colorado resident things. Like one of my favorite hiking trails, you have to walk across this log to get in. And every time I know that I'm going to fall to my death, even though the log is like 4 feet above the water. And so it's just really hard for me to get across every time. But I trust the water. And that's what's interesting sometimes, sort of the irony of what we trust is that we put our guard down and then we end up in more danger than we would have been otherwise. It was the most beautiful, perfect beginning of summer's day. It was May of 2014, that first day when it's just really hot and you just want to get in the water. And my friend called me and she said, we're all going to go tubing in Golden. And I had never been tubing before, but I had been on a lazy river. And so I figured similar. So I go to Golden, I have my swimsuit and my inner tube, and I'm ignoring some of the very obvious warning signs, like the fact that it's really blisteringly hot outside and there is no one in the water. There's all these people that are on the side of the creek, but the people in the creek are in kayaks and wearing helmets. But my friends are doing it. I'm going to go in too. And so we're going to the edge, and I get what is my entire instruction for this new experience, which is when you get to a rapid, lean back and lift up your butt so that you don't get, shoveled over into the water. And so I say, okay, and we get in the water. And it is very much like a lazy river at first until we get to the first rapid, and I lean back, and I'm in the water. And it's really deep, and it's moving really quickly. And despite being a really strong swimmer, lifting yourself into a tube in rushing fast water is difficult to do. But I did it, and I got back in, and I took a deep breath, and I get to the next rapid. And at this point, I think, I got this. And I'm leaning back, and again, I'm in the water, and I'm pummeling through the water, and I'm lifting myself back up into the tube. And so now I'm starting to feel a little disenchanted with this whole experience and really nervous and anxious. It's unpredictable in a way that the water is not to me because I know the water and the water knows me, or at least we used to, right? So I get to the third and what is going to be the largest rapid of this adventure and just resign myself to flip. And there I am, and I'm in the water, and I pull myself back in the tube, and I'm being pushed to the right side of the creek. And my friends are on the left side of the creek. And a sensible person would have just gotten out of the water on the right side of the creek at this point. But there was branches, and I didn't have shoes, and then there was this guy at that moment who just, like Jesus walking on water, just went over the rapid in his tube, and he was perfectly fine and got where I was on the right side of the creek and just pushed himself back into the middle, and the rapid pushed him forward. So I thought, okay, that's what I'll do. And I pushed myself back into the middle, and instead of pushing myself in front of the rapid, I pushed myself into it. And now I'm underwater. And I'm underwater. And I have that moment that you see in movies where I look up and I can see the air, but I can't get to it. And I'm pushing and I'm fighting and I can see the air and I'm just trying to get my face up to that air. And after what feels like forever, I finally do, and I gasp this huge breath of air, and I feel safe for a moment until I realize that now my tube is gone and I'm choking up water, and it's really difficult to breathe. It's difficult, I'm coughing and I'm struggling, and I'm being sort of bashed against these rocks on the creek as I go along. And I look over to where I'm supposed to have gotten out, and they're reaching out for me, and they're too far away to reach me. And it's so crazy to feel this sort of trapped in this element that I feel so familiar with, that it always feels so safe to me. But I actually do have this moment where I think, is this where I'm going to die? Drowning on this impossibly perfect summer day in the middle of downtown Golden, surrounded by all of these people on the side of the stream. And just as I'm sort of quietly quietly giving up and sort of feeling this odd peace with that, I see this hand of one of my friends who has somehow climbed into the trees at this perfect moment to grab onto my hand and lift me and pull me to the side of the creek. And I just sort of huddle there on the ground for a while, just catching my breath and almost and too afraid to stand up, to be honest, until she sort of demands that I stand up, and I sort of pull my bedraggled self out of the water. Thank you.